So I've been getting quite a few questions about this Canon M50, and a lot of them have been asking for what are the things that I don't like about this camera. I made a video already about the things that I like about this camera, so this video is all about the things that you might absolutely hate about this camera. So if you're thinking about buying an M50 in 2023, then stay tuned. Some of these might be absolute deal breakers for you. So I've been using this camera now for 3 years. There are some things I'm not happy about, and you might absolutely hate those things. The very first thing and the most annoying part of this camera for most people that use it, in my opinion, is the fact that you can't charge the battery in the camera. Now, this day and age, most cameras can do this, and especially if you use this camera for travel or you go shooting outdoors for long periods of time, you want to be able to just plug this in when you find an outlet and recharge the camera, or even maybe charge it via your power bank. And also with all sorts of devices now basically defaulting to the USB-C standard, it would be nice to just have one charger for everything that you have. So it'd be great to be able to just plug this in like a phone, or like some of the Sony cameras that we have now, and it just charges. That's the one thing that I miss the most from my Sony a6400 when I used to have that camera. As it is now, I have to carry an external charger everywhere I go with a bunch of extra batteries, and considering how not very long these batteries last, it would be really cool to have a camera that can just charge the batteries in the camera. The second thing that is quite annoying actually is the fact that it doesn't have a clean HDMI out. Now, I know that Canon has released the USB capture software, but it is software based, and with anything with software, it's slower than the hardware, and not all applications use it yet, okay? What I mean is you can use it as a webcam now with the utility that Canon has given us, but you have to deal with latency, lag, and sometimes actual failure because, again, it's software, and not every program is compatible with that yet. The third thing that is a deal breaker for a lot of people, especially considering that this was targeted at YouTubers originally, is the fact that the autofocus isn't very good. Now, why would someone doing YouTube videos need good autofocus? For instance, when I try to show a product, when I'm using this camera and I move the product up to the camera, it doesn't always focus on the product, especially if my face is in view in the frame. I have to somehow cover my face, obstruct my face, and then the camera focuses on the item, or like put my palm in it or something like that to make it obvious that that's the main subject. The latest Sony cameras, the ZV-1s and that series of cameras do that very, very, very brilliantly. As such, this isn't the best camera for YouTubers anymore. When it came out, it did come out on top of cameras that people desired to make YouTube videos, but this day and age in 2023, I think a lot of cameras are out now that can outperform this from the video point of view, and they're getting cheaper, so they're competing with this camera in terms of value. Which leads me to the last bit, which is of course the lens. The autofocus sometimes is based on the lens. This lens I've got on there at the moment is actually quite decent, so I don't have that much of a problem anymore, but the original lens that came with it had that problem. And of course, we don't have the variety of lenses on this range of cameras than we do on the Sonys, on the Canons, the bigger brother Canons, and the DSLRs. And I know that Sigma has given us some beautiful lenses, and those lenses are beautiful when you put it on these, and they actually convert this camera to a viable camera for photography and video. However, the lenses are relatively large compared to how compact these cameras are supposed to be, and it defeats the purpose of having a compact camera. Sometimes you're better off buying a D series Canon, which is a full-size APS-C DSLR, not a full frame, full size, so not a mirrorless camera. And those have access to lenses that have a smaller profile than the Sigma lenses that are available for this camera. And you might end up with the same size camera or even a smaller setup, ironically, with the bigger cameras than this one, because this with a massive lens sticking out of it kind of just defeats the purpose. Also, you can buy an adapter for this camera to attach other lenses, but again, it defeats the purpose. You might as well get the full-size camera and just have the lower profile lenses in the first place. And those D cameras are so much cheaper than the M50 that you might just consider going for one of those, depending on what you're going to be using it for. Anyway, All the things that I've talked about in this video, including the adapters, this lens, the camera itself, the battery charger, the extra battery, everything is in the description section if you're interested. The Amazon affiliates probably, and I will probably get some commission if you decide to click and buy it.